Hey y'all, Bob with Million Mile Garage. Today we're going to change out a power steering hose on our Odyssey. So we've got a really old power steering hose, and the outer coating is cracked and rock hard, and it looks like she's starting to weep a little bit, looking kind of nasty. And it looks like what I'm getting into here is I've got a bracket right down there I'm going to have to disconnect. So it's attached to the rocker cover with a 10mm fastener, and we'll take a look down below the water line. Alright, so before I come in and take this connector off, just showing you this is the hose coming down from top side. You can see it's all covered with goo. It snakes down, and then there's a bracket that it attaches to, a couple of brackets. It actually runs across the frame and back over to the driver's side, and that's actually where this hose actually is connected. So I'm actually going to have to disconnect the hose on the opposite side of the vehicle down low, and I'll show you. Okay, so back under the vehicle, you can see that's the connector I pointed to, and there's the metal pipe that branches off of that hose, and it comes down here, and it's held in by one bracket there, and then it snakes over this way. It's got another bracket grabbing it right there with probably a 10mm fastener, and then it snakes up all the way up there, and it catches on the power steering rack right there. So I've got to find a way to get in there with what looks like probably about a 14mm-ish wrench and get that crack loose so I can replace it, as well as getting those. I think there's two brackets holding it on right there. Yeah, there's two. And then back up that way, get that connector off. A little more involved than I thought, but I think I can pull this off. I didn't have a set of metric flare nut wrenches, so I ran out to Harbor Freight and picked these up. These are Quinn metric, and they look pretty decent. Definitely better than using an open-end wrench. I don't want to risk rounding that nut off. That would make for a pretty long day. Looking through the frame here, you can see the wrench hanging on there. I was able to get it cracked loose from underneath the car, but I don't have enough room just kind of swinging around here to show you all where the wrench is. I don't have enough room to swing that wrench to get that undone all the way, so I'm going to have to go top side and reach down from the top and finish doing it. I don't know if you can see the wrench through those hoses. You probably can. Right down in there. I'm going to have to come in and swing that wrench top side a little bit just to get that flare nut backed out of the steering rack. That took a long time to get off. Oh yeah. All right, and we'll get that off. All right, and that should just pop right off. Yeah, best move is I'm just going to have to just push it down from the top, and then looks like I'm going to have to drag it out through the fender well. You can see in here where it's hanging up a little bit. I should be able to just jerk this around. See where it goes, it wants to hang up on something. There we go. That's the way. That's the angle of attack. It's coming through here. Yep. Go out that way. There we go. That was a fight. The replacement hose was a Rock Auto buy. It's a Gates part number 365543. Okay, I got them laying side by side just to make sure I got the right hose. That looks pretty good. That's obviously made a little different, but it looks like all of the bends are close enough. Everything seems to follow down in kind of the same curvature. Yep, geometry looks about the same. So I'll say that should fit. The fitting just looks a little weird. It's a little different than the factory one, that's all. Yeah, you think that was kind of on its last legs? Yeah, that's just what you want going down I-95 at 70 miles an hour and have that let loose and catch the vehicle on fire. So, like all aftermarket stuff, when you don't buy the Honda or the whatever, right? One of the problems I had is these bushings are basically molded onto the pipe at the factory, so there's no seam on them like the one I just made, because you can't slip them off, you know, off of either end. There's no way to get them off. So just like a sway bar bushing that, you know, comes split from the factory, then of course, you know, it's captured with the bracket when it's put together. I did the same thing. I just took a razor blade and slit it so I can slide it off, and then I can transfer it over to the new hose, and then the factory bracket, when I put it on, should capture it and squish it together, and it should be fine. And of course I do the same way on the valve cover bracket as well. You've got the bushing. There's a seam there where either it was glued at the factory or molded around the hose, so that'll have to be cut as well. Okay, I got the bracket on with the little bushing thingy split. I don't think that's going to be a problem. I'm just going to leave that. We got these on as well. One thing I got left to do is this pressure sensor needs to be transferred to this fitting as well. And of course I got this one in the vise, and as usual, working on this car has been fighting me the whole time. In addition to having to invest in a set of flare nut wrenches, it looks like I'm going to have to go out and buy some oddball size 17mm wrench. I got every size but the 17. I even tried using an 11/16, which in theory should work because it's a tad smaller than an 18. But it also fit a little wobbly. I didn't like the way the 18 fit. It just feels like it's going to ring off. So, of course, it's hard to even get it in between here and here. But it's very wobbly. That just feels like it wants to ring off. And of course, this thing is installed with about twice the force that it probably should have, you know, for an O-ring fitting. I mean, like everything on this van has been like that. I guess they put everything together with air wrenches. So pretty brutal. I have to run out and get looks like a 17mm wrench, and I don't think I have one. In all my 40 years of wrenching, I don't think I've never needed a 17mm wrench until today. Okay, I lucked out. I gave these to my son for Christmas this year. Nice Christmas colors, right? And it has a 17. So, looks like I'm in luck. And it's a nice thin wrench, so it should go in there pretty easy. Ooh, and it does. And it fits just like it's supposed to. Dare I try? Oh, this is going to be a pull. Oh my goodness. Holy crap. That must have 100 foot-pounds of force on it. Good grief. All right. One more pull. Moses. Looks like the kit came with 2 O-rings. One of them is for this pressure sensor, and then the other one, of course, is for the big fitting that goes into the head of the power steering pump. I'm going to wrap this up in tape because I just don't want to get grit in it. And the kit actually did give me a little plastic cap to put over the other end while you feed it through the frame and stuff. So it looks like we're pretty much all set. Good deal. Okay, old one, new one. I've already dipped it in a little bit of ATF. I'm just going to slip it on and then thread it in. Okay, let's thread it in the hole. And all I did was just snug it up really good. I probably put maybe 25, 30 foot-pounds on that. It doesn't have to be gorilla force. All I'm doing is tightening this up so that it can't loosen up. That's all I'm looking to do. And you know, the O-ring is what's doing the sealing. It's not having this tighten up to 100 foot-pounds. Okay, you see the hose made it up top side, no problem. Tape stayed intact, so I don't have any trash in that. I think you can see my bracket is way down there. I'm going to have to feed that up to the rocker cover. Not a big deal. I'm going to show you the hardest part of the job. Hardest part of the job was getting that flare nut to thread back into the steering rack, because you've got limited mobility the way you have to contort in here. And I basically took one hand and wiggled this pipe back and forth while I worked this in just by hand. You can feel it with your fingers. So I know it's started and it's not cross-threaded. That was really tough. That's the hardest part of the whole job right there, is getting that back in. That was really difficult, because if you cross-thread it and you start putting torque on it with the wrench and you booger that up, you know how the rest of your day is going to go. All right, I have all the brackets loosely attached, top and bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and take the tape off, get this new hose attached to the pump housing. We got our new O-ring on, we got it lubed. I got one fastener stuck in. We're just going to come over and set that thing down in there. Should just slide right in. Yep, piece of cake. We'll get that fastener started. All right, we'll get the other one in and we'll press that down. Yep, they just need to be snug. The O-ring does the sealing. There we go. All right, and that's just kind of how this hose is going to lay in here. That bracket will kind of go around to where we want it. I think I like it just like that. All right, we got that on, and let's just take a trip down here. See how I did on the. There's our connector. There's our first bracket. That snuck down just fine. There's our second bracket. That looks good. There's our flare fitting. I think you can see I've got a stack of wrenches hanging off of it, going up top side. That's why I had to end up tightening it down. No big deal. Just can't get the leverage in between there. It's just not going to work. So, but anyway, everything's tightened up. Everything looks good. I think the replacement line fits about as good as the factory one did. So I'm real happy with that. So I guess we'll call it a success until we fill it up with fluid and see if it leaks. All right, looks good. Got our bracket cinched down. That's where it ended up laying. That hose fits fine. I don't think any of that's going to fall out. That's good. That holds that like it's supposed to. Real happy with that. That fits good, looks good. Yeah, just showing you the wrench. You can see where they're connected right there. And then it just snakes all the way down and grabs that flare nut down there. I got that extra wrench on there just so I could actually reach it. And it also gave me a little extra leverage, so I had to be careful not to over tighten. But I was able to do most of the tightening of the flare nut on my back below. Then when it got down to the nitty gritty where you needed the flare nut wrench, it doesn't have enough angle built into it, so you can turn it over or do whatever to get in between that little tiny working area I had down there. So kind of had to work from top and bottom on that. No big deal though, got it on. While the reservoir is still empty, I'm going to take full advantage of this, and I'm going to replace the O-ring on this plastic suction side fitting. That was actually a warranty repair item way back when. I think you can actually see this thing flex back and forth. It's only got one 10mm fastener holding this flimsy connector on or fitting. You can see I've got a Craftsman 10mm hanging off of the one lone fastener now, and you can see where it's kind of snaking through the power steering pump pulley and the serpentine belt coming out this way. I disconnected one of these harness retainers, and that's going to give me the needed room to swing the wrench. I ordered a kit online from Amazon, X0020E044D. It's got two different size O-rings, assuming it's the larger black one. And let's get this apart and get this fixed as well. Since everything in this car has been put together with Gorilla Force, I'm just going to take my middle finger and slip it under the hose, and I'm going to hold this wrench up tight against the fastener, and I'm going to come in here with the butt of a hammer, and I'm just going to crack this loose. There we go. looks like it's down in here. That looks like it's going to take the red one. I guess it takes the black one. I swear that don't look right either, but I guess I'll take it out of the bag and see if it works. Maybe this one's just stretched out a little bit. That one almost looks like it's too, almost looks like that one's too small. That sure doesn't look right. Does it fit over? Now I thought they should fit a little snug. Yep, that slips right over. There's the old one sitting on top. It slides over, but it fits over loose. I guess it's actually just compressed and stretched out. So I'm guessing this will just go right in. Yeah, it definitely feels like it fits snug in there. Yep. You definitely feel it compress in. Okay, I guess it's right. Yeah, that seems right to me. That should fit nice and snug over that as well. I guess the other one was just stretched out, compressed. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay. Okay, I just got to get it started with my fingers, and I'm all set. Okay, I think we're ready to road test this thing and see if she's going to have any leaks or problems. As you can see, I got her back on the ground, so all the other mechanicals that I had been working on are pretty much complete. At least I hope they are, right? I got her topped off with power steering fluid. I didn't have enough of this brand, so I had to run out to Advance Auto and I got a quart of this to finish topping it off. I've already started it up once and it immediately sucked the reservoir dry. I'm hoping that's about where it's going to settle in at. Just pointing out, I'm also missing the radiator cover or shroud or whatever you want to call that. We went ahead and while we had it up on the jacks, we replaced the motor mounts, replaced the front one, and then the two transmission mounts as well. So we're just going to take it out and road test it and see if the power steering is quieter. And so far I haven't seen anything leaking out where it shouldn't be, just from the brief little bit that I started it. So I think we're good. Just looking down there as well. You probably can't see much down there. Just trying to look and see where that new pipe goes in. Oh yeah, it's down here. Yep, there's the shiny new pipe. I don't see anything dripping off of that. So I think we're going to be just fine. Yep, I don't see anything dripping. That looks really good. Yep, pump looks dry, not making any weird noises. So I guess that little O-ring thing did work. Cool. Smash that like button, or you don't have to smash it. You can just push it. Push. Come on and push it. Not feeling it? Give me a like if you want, or you can leave something in the comments section. Just leave it PG-13, and we'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.